Hello and welcome to the show. Now, remote production and remote workflows are not entirely new concepts, but they really have come to the forefront due to COVID-19. And today we are joined by Simon Browne from ClearCom.
Yeah, welcome to KitPlus TV, Simon.
Hello.
So, could you tell us a little bit more about remote production work ClearCom has done in the past and how it has been accelerated during the COVID pandemic?
Certainly. When we first introduced the V-Series panels, the intercom panels for our Eclipse matrix intercom solution back in 2006, we were wise enough to include native IP on those panels. And they were soon being used not just in the local LAN to sort of TV station, but they went out to across campuses on the wide area networks. And we also included internet capability within the codecs of that. So we soon found those V-Series panels being used in, say, hotel rooms for news information and journalists and for key personnel, not necessarily on the campus. So we've been working quite some time with sort of off-center sort of IP communications, like off the production center. With COVID, well, let's go back a bit further still. Back in 2015, we introduced the AgentIC app that viewers can see behind you. That we can reproduce that kind of IP intercom connectivity on tablets and phones. And that became also useful and as an adjacent sort of intercom for an adjacent user to use back to this central switch, the back of the matrix, the Eclipse system. And so the combination of both the V-Series panels with more audio sources and the smartphones and tablets gave us remote production from 2015 onward. And of course, now with COVID, it's become very important.
So which ClearCom products do you typically see in a remote workflow setup? Can you take us through what one of these workflows would look like at, say, a TV station, for example?
Certainly. So at the simplest and smallest end, you can just use your smartphone with AgentIC app loaded on it, download it from the Play Store, set up a few keys, and they can be IFB feeds for you, so that in a simple sort of application where you're in news gathering on the streets, you can have connectivity back to the studio on a simple smartphone for your IFB. If you want to be more remote and have more facility, you can have a sort of desktop like a tablet with the application with many more solutions on it for list monitoring audio feeds, for different point-to-points with members of the production team. Again, IFB if you need it. So that sort of builds out that capacity. And then you can either add or instead have the V-Series IP connectivity if you want to have multiple audio feeds back from the Eclipse system over IP, so you can monitor lots of audio feeds through the auxiliary functionality. We can carry more than one audio feed down through the IP streams, so you can have monitoring and intercom at the same time. So those tools can work independently of each other or as connected to each other. So we've seen people with both AgentIC and V-Series, for example, in some of their remote homes when they're doing remote production.
So with the onset of this COVID nightmare that we're living through, we've seen many companies needing to purchase a lot of new equipment, a lot of new hardware, or dramatically alter their overall way of doing things to adapt to working at home. How does ClearCom approach this?
Well, it's very simple for somebody working from their home. They simply download the app from the Play Stores, either the Android, Google Play, or Play Store for Apple. Load the app onto their phone. They're given by the technician in the intercom system their passcode, the address, the server address, which is a DNS name, easy to understand, and they log in to an available port that's been configured for them. And then essentially they have that by their side as a tablet, for example, as a straightforward intercom solution. So it's very easy. We've done this, for example, for the draft, the football, US American football draft, where we had all the franchisees situated with using the AgentIC on their phones. They were given a very simple instruction set, less than a page of how to do this, and they then were able to communicate back to an Eclipse system that we facilitated within our own organization and connected that to their conference telephone lines so that they're able to remotely bring in people onto the draft through the intercom system that we use through AgentIC. So it's very simple to deploy.
Yeah. And what makes AgentIC different than other similar products on the market, Simon?
Well, the big difference really is that it has direct connection to an intercom audio system. So whether it's through straight to the IP card in the Eclipse system, or whether it's using the LQ. LQ is a little drop down box with simple audio, either partyline or 4-wire matrix connectivity, and that acts as a little AgentIC server for up to 8 users, and you can have up to 6 of the boxes. So the difference is that both the LQ and the Eclipse have direct connection to an intercom system. You're not going via just user to user on phone to phone. It's beyond that. It also, the way that we've drawn the UI and the way it operates as a professional intercom system. So people understand that, listen and talk capability, individual mix audio, for example. And the way that it works, it has its own basically built-in firewall, so you don't have to worry about too much of that setup. It's easy to get going with it. It's a single port operation, so IT personnel like it. It's very secure. For instance, it's got encryption on the LQ system, for example. So it's professional grade intercom.
So okay, AgentIC, professional grade intercom. What's the learning curve like? How easy is it? I've never seen it before. I'm not a technical person. Could I pick it up and have an idea of what it does really straight away?
That's what we've found to be the case. Yes. The other thing is that when you do download it and try it on your phone yourself, we provide a little demo mode so that you can listen to audio. In fact, I think the one behind you is an example of the demo mode. You can you can listen to different feeds, different languages, get familiarity with the way that the buttons operate before you need it to do it in earnest. So yeah, we've not had any great difficulty. And as I say, for the draft, we had people up and running very quickly indeed. And it's not been particularly difficult.
And can you talk about some specific use cases where this technology was integral to continuing operations for some users?
Certainly. Some of your listeners will know about the Kitten Bowl here in the States, where they have it over the Super Bowl weekend. And it's an animal adoption program when they have kittens actually playing on a sort of sports field. So we had cameramen there in that facility, but all the production was remote. So that the directors, in order to be able to preview camera feeds, we had controls on the keys and AgentIC, just like a conventional intercom panel, and they were able to select camera feeds from the AgentIC mobile app themselves back to their own video monitor in their homes. And to be able to select that. And that was done just basically on controls under keys that we would do normally. And that's one of the advantages of AgentIC over other solutions is it is an effective intercom tool.
Now, Simon, I was looking back in our archives and we've been chatting to you since IBC 2011 and at pretty much every trade show ever since. And during that time, you've told us everything about intercoms that we could ever want to know. But we've been asking all of our guests to try and find out something about them that we don't know, and maybe even your colleagues at ClearCom don't know. So enlighten us. Well, to be honest with you, I have been in intercom now for about 28, 30 years. But I'm not really, I keep saying to myself, I'm not really supposed to be in intercom. I'm a music console guy, and I started with CalRec and came to Drake Electronics as the audio console guy. And so I somehow mysteriously ended up in intercom. And I keep thinking, after 28 years, I shouldn't be here. Anyway,
you somehow switched paths.
It's become my life. We don't tend to choose our careers. I think it gets chosen for us. I think that's how things work, isn't it?
Yeah, it chooses you. Yeah. I mean, we didn't plan on doing this, but we're here. Yeah. Brilliant. Thanks for watching today, and thanks to Simon from ClearCom for coming on the show. To see all our video interviews and kit reviews, then head over to KitPlus TV, which is brought to you with the support of Mediaproxy, and you can find out more about them at mediaproxy.com. Thanks again, Simon.